I wanted to ask you about the request of the defense to remove the three lawyers, the case manager, Ms. Nicolene, as well as attorneys Andres and Butuyan. Do you think this will be granted?
I'm sorry, but I cannot speak on this matter yet. But what I can tell you is that the lawyers will be able to submit their comments or observations as to this request. Maybe we can just wait for that and the final decision of the court. But what I can say is that this will not affect the February 23rd hearing. We will push on. We will have, at the least, the OPCV representative, Paulina Masida, stand in for the interests of the victims. And also, until there is a decision from the court, these lawyers and the full legal team, as soon as they are appointed, will represent victims in this case.
Any hitches still that you can anticipate that can derail the confirmation of charges hearing?
Force majeure. If there's a storm, if there's an act of God that would compel the ICC to postpone the hearing, that's the only thing so far now that I see. The denial of their request, of the defense request for leave to appeal the question on fitness to stand trial, that decision is critical because that would have essentially stalled the proceedings. If Duterte is unfit to stand trial, or maybe they raise it again, essentially the proceedings would have to be adjourned or stopped, again, to determine if he is fit to stand trial, if he's okay, etc. So at least there's kind of a certainty to this issue.
Attorney, just wanted to go back to Sean's question about the defense's request to revoke the designation and to disqualify the three Filipino lawyers. I know you can't go into the details of the request because a lot of the information was also redacted, but help us understand under what conditions can a party argue conflict of interest as well as impediment to representation?
All right, so in general terms, conflict of interest means that you have participated or you have coordinated and substantially coordinated with another party or have looked into the same issues within the same case. So essentially, nakausap mo, naka-coordinate mo yung kabila. And in this case, there are three parties. It's the prosecution, the defense, and the victims. So whichever party they would have coordinated with, that would constitute conflict of interest kung tatawid ka. Also, it would also involve access to evidence or access to information. If you had access to information, you have the duty to disclose. And so I think that could be one matter also where you would be perceived to be biased. So ultimately, that's the point. They can claim conflict of interest, they can claim, etc. And the premise would be you are biased and you will not be impartial enough to fulfill your duties.
And do you think this is a legal strategy on the part of the defense? And would you say it's a delaying tactic, or do you think it won't have any bearing when it comes to the timeline of the proceedings?
Oh, this won't have a bearing on the timeline. We will proceed with February 23rd, as I said again. We could have just one legal representative if the request is granted. There's still Paulina Masida of the OPCV. But as of now, sans that decision from the court, we would have three legal representatives standing for the victims.
But how would the victims feel, attorney, if they will be represented by a different lawyer? Siyempre, mas okay din naman kung Pilipino ang magre-represent sa kanila. They speak the language, they understand what the victims went through. So what are the implications if ever iba yung magre-represent sa kanila here?
Well, we could look at it from a short-term and then a long-term perspective. In the short term, it's just for the hearing on February 23rd. But the victims actually have a little bit of anxiety and apprehension as regards representation because that's important to them. Yeah. They've done so many things just to make sure that they are heard. But we are taking the steps to make sure that whoever sits on the 23rd, they carry the voice of the victims. for February 23rd. But in the long run, of course, we will still endeavor to make sure that the lawyers, victims, the common legal representatives of victims, is counsel of choice. And that's important for the victims. And as you've said it perfectly, it's logistical, cultural, psychological conditions. Of course, the lawyer must be someone, the victims or the client, whoever, kung sino man dito sa situation na to, has to trust. It is a relationship based on trust.